UFC Fight Night Vegas 62, Grasso versus Araujo just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well, starting with the early prelim opener of Mike Jackson versus Pete Rodriguez. Pete Rodriguez got revenge for CM Punk, apparently. Destroyed Mike Jackson in the first round, hurt him badly with an off-balance punch that seemed to put down Mike Jackson for a second, and then Pete Rodriguez started landing big shots of ground and pound on him, let him back up, landed some more big shots on Mike Jackson, and then landed a massive knee to the face, and some more follow-up shots to finish off Mike Jackson in round one. Great win. Not really a performance of the night bonus-worthy win, because he was supposed to win, but he made Mike Jackson look like Mike Jackson. And that's good from Pete Rodriguez, because you have to be somewhat good to show that skill difference in a fight against someone. So good for Pete Rodriguez. He had a great performance, and he's definitely got power in those hands in the welterweight division. Good for him. I actually think he could be a lightweight at some point. He seems a little bit like he's got some chub on him, but we don't want to limit that power. So good win from Pete Rodriguez. He moves forward, and he's not complete garbage, is what this showed me. Moving on, up the card, Tatsuro Taira versus CJ Vergara. Tatsuro Taira looked good. He looked good. Listen, CJ Vergara did okay. He was doing okay to defend some positions in the first round, but at the end of the day, Tatsuro Taira was getting the better of the grappling situations. And in round two, it looked like Tatsuro Taira was going to get a rear naked choke a bunch of times. Almost had it locked in a few times, but CJ Vergara was doing a good job of defending and breaking the hands and fighting the hands and escaping the position. But eventually, Tatsuro Taira did something that shows how good he really is, in my opinion, which is chain together submissions and switch to the armbar, which is a very dangerous maneuver to go for because you might end up on bottom, but that shows the confidence that Tatsuro Taira had, and he locked up that armbar in round two and finished off CJ Vergara. Very good performance from him. I said rear naked choke submission. He got the submission over CJ Vergara in the second round. His English is aggressive, I think I can say. Thank you, everybody. Like, I'm not even doing an exaggeration or a mockery. It's genuinely just screaming incoherent, high-pitched squeals into the microphone, which is very interesting, but a very good win from him. And I like the flyweight division now. I like that we're seeing flyweights get wins in the unranked area before they can even consider going ranked. You know what I'm saying? Because normally, if Tatsuro Taira won his debut, he's number 15 in the rankings. But now we're seeing these flyweights have to get like a few good wins under their belt before we can see him jump up and take on a ranked contender. So there's a bit more of a maturing process that we get to see. Great win from Tatsuro Taira. Moving on up the card, Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Competitive bout, but Piera Rodriguez was landing the better shots, stuffing the takedowns, getting her own takedowns as well. To be honest, I say stuffing takedowns. Sam Hughes barely shot a single takedown the entire fight. But I believe that was because Piera Rodriguez was landing massive knees to the body, which might have been putting off Sam Hughes a little bit from bolting forward and going for that. But Piera Rodriguez landed the better shots, was busier in the clinch, got the takedowns when she needed to. It was a very competitive fight where Sam Hughes was pushing the pace and trying to get the volume advantage and stuff like that. But Piera Rodriguez just kept landing big shots. The takedowns were the main difference, though. Mixing in the takedowns in the rounds. If there's a close round and they don't really know who's going to win and it's a very close fight on the feet, the person who got the takedowns is going to steal that round, and that's what Piera Rodriguez did. And Sam Hughes is a good grappler, so good for Piera Rodriguez to mix in her grappling and get the job done. She moves on to 9-0 in the women's strawweight division. Moving on, Joe Anderson Brito versus Lucas Alexander. Just felt incredibly unfair. Listen, on the feet, Lucas Alexander is a bit of a striker, so he was obviously going to have a bit of a chance there, but Joe Anderson Brito showed off a bit more of his grappling skill. He got the big KO over Andre Fili. I was thinking he was going to get a big KO this time, but he went out there and just showed no respect to Lucas Alexander and just picked him up and dunked him. I mean, dunked him on the canvas multiple times until he found the opening to take the back and get the rear naked choke. He didn't like it at one point, readjusted, slammed down Lucas Alexander again, and just looked to capitalize with his grappling in the scrambles and take the back, put in the body triangle, and get the rear naked choke on Lucas Alexander. Very clean work from him. No damage taken. I don't know if he's going to get a performance bonus. I don't know who's going to get a performance bonus on this card. I think they might just not do a fight of the night bonus and maybe give him a performance bonus for his win because it was very clean. But we'll see how it goes. I want to see him on the Brazil card, though. Joe Anderson Brito is a dangerous guy, and he had a good performance. So good for him. Apparently he didn't. And fight of the night was Todorovic, Jordan Wright. I would have given fight of the night to Martinez Davis. But whatever, I guess. Anyway, moving on. Up the card to another fight, which was Nick Maximov versus Jacob Malkoun. I picked Nick Maximov to win. By the way, I picked every fight right until now. I picked Rodriguez, Taira, Rodriguez, and Brito. Many Rodriguez's on the card. I picked Maximov to win. He was looking good. No knockdowns. What fight were they watching? He dropped him with a jab in round 1. But yeah, I gave the first round to Nick Maximov because he clearly dropped Jacob Malkoun with a jab in round 1. But other than that, though, Jacob Malkoun just pressured him and beat him up a little bit. Not really, though. Embarrassingly for Jacob Malkoun, it was a bit of an unfortunate performance because Maximov was looking good on the feet early on. Looking really, really good. And then he blew his leg out and his whole ACL tore, I guess, and all of his ligaments in his leg were completely destroyed. And then Malkoun started getting the better of the fight after that. Started going for takedowns. He couldn't really get good takedowns. He could just get sort of like a single leg and then pivot to get the takedown because he knew that Nick Maximov couldn't like pivot on his rear leg whilst defending a single leg takedown. So he was targeting the injury with his takedown entries and the takedowns that he decided to go for. So good for Jacob Malkoun there, but man, finish him. You know, the fact that he didn't finish him is actually just pathetic. I'm never picking Malkoun to win a fight at middleweight. Like, against anyone decent. Like, the fact that you can't finish that. Like, dude. Like, he's one-legged, wincing every time he steps. He's literally a done opponent. Like, he has one leg, he can't balance, he can't stand on it, and you can't finish. Like, it's remarkable how bad Malkoun looked in a win, which is crazy to say, but good stuff from him. He gets the win, and Maximov, man, needs to recover from the injury. It's not looking good for him. People are roasting him, though. He got injured brutally, randomly, out of nowhere, and tried to fight on. You know what I mean? If he rolled on the floor and grabbed his leg like Aspinall, everyone would be saying, oh, weird, innit? But he tried to fight on. He showed heart, you know what I mean? Like, let's not pile on him. If he gets recovered, he's still young. He could make another run in the middleweight division. Moving on. Up the card, Manny Martinez versus Brandon Davis. I went with Manny Martinez to win. And to be honest, he's lucky. Not lucky, yeah, but Brandon Davis nearly had that. And he messed it up for himself. And he knew he messed it up for himself as well because you could see it on his face after he got dropped at the end of round 2. He was comfortably winning round 2. And he comfortably won round 3 as well. Now, split decision is a little bit interesting, is all I'm going to say about that decision. Very interesting to go for a split decision there. But it was a close round 1. I gave round 1 to Manny Martinez. I thought he landed the cleaner punches out of the two of them. It was 31-24 on strikes. I thought it was a close round in terms of numbers. The overall strike stats they showed on screen did not represent that at all. So I think that's where people's confusion was. But round 1 was reasonably competitive. But to score that to Davis, I don't know, Martinez landed the cleaner punches on the chin and noticeably had a better effect than Davis's had on him. So I gave round 1 to Martinez, pretty clear. And then round 2, Davis was winning, like comfortably winning the round. Almost looking like he was going to begin to dominate towards the end of it. And then he starts talking and smiling and, yeah, brother, yeah. And then he gets clipped by a spinning back fist, dropped, back up, dropped again, almost goes out cold and barely recovers for the end of round 2. So that's a round to Manny Martinez. Yeah, and then Davis wins the third comfortably. So he messed it up for himself because it looked like Martinez was starting to slow down and break, to be honest with you. And Krause weren't happy with him for his performance either, but Davis was doing good. He just got clipped at the end of the second, so what can you do? But yeah, Brandon Davis, good stuff, but not good enough. Got too confident at the end of round 2, and Manny Martinez gets it done, so good for him. Very good job. We'll see if he can improve, which he needs to rapidly moving forward. It's Bantamweight. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough division. Moving on. Up the card, Misha Cirkunov versus Alonzo Menifield. I went with Alonzo Menifield by first round KO. He got the first round KO. Misha Cirkunov, just the story of his career is like, okay, who am I going to fail takedown attempts against next and get KO'd by? Especially at light heavyweight. At middleweight, he seems to be able to manipulate body weight a little bit better. But at light heavyweight, he just doesn't seem to have the strength to follow through on these takedowns. And I feel like he gets to the takedowns, but there's no drive afterwards. You know? Like, he'll get to someone's hips, and then he'll just sort of scoot up the body to the clinch. Like, it's very odd to me. It feels like if he just took a second step and drove through, he could get some of these, but he doesn't. He just doesn't have that drive. He doesn't have that grit for the takedown. So if it gets initially stuffed a little bit, he just bails on it. And it's like, eventually you're going to get clipped on the feet, and boom, he got clipped on the feet by Alonzo Menifield behind the ear with a left hand, which sort of like left him in like a finish him state on the feet. And then Menifield crashed in with a right hand, follow-up shots on the ground as well, and put Misha Cirkunov out badly. Very good performance from Alonzo Menifield, and I believe he didn't get a performance of the night bonus. Wow. I would say don't give it to Todorovic versus Jordan Wright. They messed that up. They really messed that up. Jordan Wright didn't do much for that. Like, he survived in the second round and landed a couple of shots back, maybe, but it was more like he just sort of cruised the first with grappling and then survived the second for a bit until getting finished. Fight of the night, they're being nice to Jordan Wright there. I'd say performance of the night, Martinez, which they did give. Todorovic just gets performance of the night bonus for the comeback, I guess. And then we go Menifield and then Tatsuro Taira or even Britta. But, like, man, they didn't give Alonzo Menifield a performance. That was a great KO. Moving on to another fight, which was up the card. Rafael Assuncao versus Victor Henry. I thought Victor Henry was going to win. I'm sorry. I thought every round could have gone to Assuncao, to be honest with you. And they did give every round to Rafael Assuncao. I was kind of coping in the first, like, I don't know, guys, maybe Henry. I said Assuncao to my chat, and chat was like, no, Victor Henry won that. And I was like, I don't know, close round. Assuncao landed the cleaner shots. But that was close. And then round 2 and 3, man, Henry he looked like he couldn't box out there with Assuncao. He was trying to kick at him, and Assuncao was catching the kick and landing shots. But it genuinely was like a boxing skill difference between the pair of them. Henry just couldn't land hooks or punches clean on Assuncao's chin. Like, he just kept coming in, picking at the legs with kicks, landing some punches, couple head kicks partially blocked. Body kicks were the main weapon that he used in this fight, but again, they at times were getting caught and ending up with him on the ground and trying to go for submissions and stuff like that, but he just couldn't land clean punches, and Assuncao was, and that was the difference of the fight. So, boxing difference, Rafael Assuncao wins. Didn't see that coming. Assuncao turns back the clock. He said he was going to retire, but he chose not to. Good performance from him, I guess. And Victor Henry's no joke, man. He dominated Rafael. He dominated Raoni Barcelos on short notice. But just can't get past Assuncao at this point, 40 years of age, which is interesting, but good stuff. Assuncao wins. Get him on the Brazil card. Maybe he can retire there against a Jonathan Martinez, perhaps. That could end up happening. We'll see. Moving on to another fight, which is Jordan Wright versus Dusko Todorovic. I thought I was a genius. I said Jordan Wright's going to be too strong in the grappling exchanges, too strong in the clinch, and he's going to win this fight. But Jordan Wright's just the cardio problem, man. Like, you got to have more cardio than that. He started to slow down, and once he started to slow down, that was it. He gets clipped, he gets hurt, then the body shots start coming from Dusko Todorovic, and he puts him away by round 2 TKO. I mean, hell of a chin from Jordan Wright. Normally he gets clipped and goes down, but you know, he was taking some big shots from Dusko Todorovic there. But, man, I mean, he got 50k for it, but I don't even think he should have got 50k, man. He landed 8 strikes in round 2. Why did they give that fight of the night? I'm actually so annoyed by that. 58-8 in round 2. What did Jordan Wright do to get fight of the night? He landed good shots in round 1, but it wasn't that crazy. Martinez, Brandon Davis was better. But whatever. All good. Dusko Todorovic gets the job done. Almost got put out a couple of times in the first by Jordan Wright as well. Like, he was eating some big ground and pound shots whilst going for legs and trying to scramble out of positions and stuff like that. But he toughed it out, and he proved me wrong and got it done in round 2. Can't trust the cardio of Jordan Wright. He's a one-round fighter. 50-50 in the first round. And if it leaves that spot, he's probably going to lose. Noted. If Wright's winning after the first round ever again. Moving on. Up the card to another fight. Cub Swanson versus Jonathan Martinez. I picked Jonathan Martinez to win via body kick TKO, I believe I said, in round 2 or 1. And he got the job done by round 2. Inside leg kick TKO. Very Jared Cannonier Anderson Silva-esque. Destroyed the legs of Cub Swanson. But before that, nearly put out Cub Swanson in round 1. And it was a brutal win from Jonathan Martinez. The fight started off, both guys very slow starting, and Swanson got a takedown at one. Or Martinez ended up on the bottom for a bit and scrambled it and reversed it and ended up on top and had some good moments there. And it was pretty tit for tat in round 1 until the very end. And that's where Jonathan Martinez landed a big knee to the face of Cub Swanson. And it was just that Cub Swanson's style of lunging in and charging in at Martinez was just too obvious at bantamweight. And you could see a speed difference on the gap closing ability. Like, Swanson was charging in and loading up these big lunging shots, and Martinez was landing like elbows as he came in, big knees to the body as he came in, throwing kicks at range that were doing good work. Body kicks at range were doing big work for him as well. And eventually, I don't even feel like he tallied up too many big leg kicks, but towards the end, he just started smashing the legs apart of Cub Swanson. And man, Jonathan Martinez must kick like a mule, because he hurt him bad. At the end of round 1, he hurt him with a big knee to the face and a big knee to the body as well, and hurt him against the cage. So round 1 was clearly Martinez. And then round 2, he put the nails in the coffin, finished him off brutally with those inside leg kicks after hurting Swanson a couple of times on the feet. Those elbows he was landing as Swanson came in were brutal as well. So he called out Dominic Cruz, but he's so soft-spoken, and he's not going to get Dominic Cruz. I just feel like Cruz is going to be matched up with another big name coming off a loss in the bantamweight division. Maybe if Garbrandt wins his next fight, they're going to use Cruz to try and get Garbrandt back in the mix. Or maybe if O'Malley loses, they could try to do Cruz O'Malley. They're going to use Cruz's name for someone more than Martinez, I believe. So why not Martinez versus Assuncao in Brazil? Winner gets a good ranked spot back in the bantamweight division. That sounds good to me. A good win from Jonathan Martinez, though. Earned his performance bonus tonight. Very solid performance. Poor Cub Swanson. One of my favourite fighters. Taken down. Moving on. The main event. Alexa Grasso versus Vivian Araujo. Women's main event, innit? Like, it's just... It was actually good. But I don't know what it is, man. I just don't think they can be main events. You know? Like, it was actually better than, like, an Israel Adesanya fight. Like, I'm not saying it was that boring. Because Alexa Grasso actually looked pretty technical, and I think she clearly won, like, maybe 5-0, maybe at a push 4-1. And I'm glad the judges agreed with me, because I was worried for a second the way Twitter was talking about round 2 to Araujo. Like, I feel like in women's MMA, people, like, look at the takedown as everything. Like, no, Grasso was schooling her in round 2. Absolutely dominating her in round 2. 38-20 on significant strikes. And a lot of those from Araujo were little taps on the ground. Like, Grasso was, like, landing great boxing shots on Araujo. And people were like, 1-1 going into the third. Round 3 was pretty close. Could go Araujo's way, and I agree. Round 3 was quite close. Round 4 was quite close. But I gave those rounds to Grasso. And I gave the first 2 rounds, especially round 2, to Grasso as well. Like, she clearly outstruck her on the feet. But, yeah, round 5 was close. There were some close rounds, but I edged away of Grasso because of the cleaner boxing, the cleaner shots landed, and being a bit busier after stuffing the takedowns with knees in the clinch and stuff like that. So, good work from her. She looked good. Just don't give her to Shevchenko yet, man. Don't give her to Shevchenko yet. Let's let these contenders build. Like, let's give her a winnable matchup against a woman who's not the best at the top of flyweight. Where's the flyweight top of the division? Maybe give the winner of Chukagian Manon Fiorot to Valentina Shevchenko. And let's let Alexa Grasso build a little bit more. She's still young. We can do her versus Lauren Murphy. And she'll probably just beat Lauren Murphy. Yeah, I'm saying? Let's do that first. And let her have another fight, maybe. Not a main event against Murphy, for God's sake. But let's have another fight. But good boxing from Alexa Grasso. She genuinely looked good technically, and both girls did. So, respect to them for that, but Grasso especially. some really clean boxing out there. So that's respectable. I just feel like there's no it can be finished in any moment vibe when it comes to women's MMA sometimes in the lower divisions, and that kind of ruins the excitement for the main events that they have. But good stuff from Alexa Grasso. Let's do her versus Lauren Murphy. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. I believe I went what? Good card overall. I believe I went... What did I go? I got 2 wrong on the main card. I said Jordan Wright and Victor Henry. Got them 2 wrong. So 3 and 2 on the main card. And I went 5 and 1 on the prelim. So that's 8 and 3. Which ain't bad, but not the best. 8 and 3. Not bad. Toodle Pip. See you later. Goodbye.